We need to have a talk today. It's about your pixel anxiety. I know, I'm here for you, but the first step is admitting that you have a problem. And it's okay, I have it too. With the release of the Nikon D850 and other very high resolution cameras and camera backs, I've been hearing a discussion that I've heard with each camera release that has a jump in pixels, all the way back to the introduction of 6 megapixel DSLRs. You hear rumblings of this: you need lenses that can handle all of that resolution. It's an argument that makes sense on the surface. If you take advantage of the resolution and blow up a photo really big, or you crop into it really small, the flaws or softness of the lens will be apparent. The idea being, if you're using a more expensive lens, the glass will allow the image to remain more crisp down in the fine details. However, that's not the full story, and it can be a misleading argument. Let's start with a what if. If you had a camera that was only 20 megapixels, and it seems funny to say only 20 megapixels. Anyway, if you had an image from a camera that had a 20 megapixel sensor and you blew it up, you'd wind up with an image that at some point in the blowing up would be pixelated. Now with a camera with 45 megapixels, you would be able to keep zooming in past the point that you could with the first image. Then at some point it might start showing softness and then eventually pixelated. Now the majority of the population won't ever notice this difference. But if you're a pixel peeper with a case of pixel anxiety, you are definitely going to notice the difference. All right, let's talk about clarity or softness of an image. Clarity is affected by lens choice, but it is also affected by camera settings, focus accuracy, and even atmospheric conditions. Now let's talk about resolution. Back to the same example, 20 megapixels versus 45 megapixels. A shot that is sharp with a particular lens at 20 megapixels when viewed at a 1-to-1 ratio might be very sharp. Now, if you had that 45 megapixel camera with the same lens, you've got a lot more data being captured. So if you go 1-to-1 again, the 45 megapixel image might be sharp. You would expect it to be, right? But consider this. When viewing it at that 1-to-1 ratio, you are seeing more information. You're seeing things that you wouldn't normally see because you have so much more information. So might the shot be a bit soft because you're seeing things that you wouldn't otherwise see? Remember all those things that contribute to the clarity of an image: settings, focus accuracy, atmosphere. Might this new greater resolution sensor be capturing the minute details of those things? A faint motion blur, the atmosphere in that landscape photo, things that you couldn't see before with your 20 megapixel sensor. So, which is better, the 20 megapixel 1-to-1 sharp photo or the 45 megapixel image that reveals some softness at 1-to-1? Some people will automatically say that the sharper image wins. After all, at its 20 megapixel size, it's sharp. Others might say resolution always wins and more data is never a bad thing, even with some softness down in the finer details. And others might say that you need a better lens with that 45 megapixel camera. I'm not sure that any of those arguments are right or wrong. What I will say is this: if it's a shitty photo to you at 20 megapixels, more resolution isn't going to save it, and the other way around as well. It's an important thing to remember. These newest, latest, greatest cameras are great to have, and I'm dying to get a sweet Nikon D850 with all of its 45 megapixel glory. But if you don't put your emphasis on timing, light, and location, settings that fit your situation, those extra pixels won't do much for you. Now here's my question, my fellow pixel anxiety peeps. Do you need to do anything different to handle all of those new pixels? Better lenses, better technique, a new tripod, or another new gadget? Many of you know how I feel. I love the capabilities and I love pushing the limits of technology, but I also know firsthand that an intense focus on those details can end up de-emphasizing the artistic aspects that I'm truly after. But my opinion is only my opinion. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below.